From the lush green lands to the cascading waterfalls, wonders of the world, the oldest habitat of territories on earth, a rich cultural heritage, a continent of 1.1 billion people, second largest and most populous, a continent pregnant with possibilities, home to 30% of Earth's mineral resources, 50% of its people under 25 years. Africa, the land of the great. Our spirit resilient. Our enterprise profitable. Our future inspiring. Africa is inspiring. Be inspired.
Nigeria has definitely had its own share of women contributing to its economy and to its development. I mean, right now we have Folorushan Alakija, who is one of the richest women in the world and one of the richest people in the world, and she's quite the philanthropist, I must say, philanthropist, that I must say. Now, there are other types of development as well. You have people who head up actual development bodies, like Dr. Myro Mandera, who heads up the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in Abuja. And you also have people like Michelle Ekure, who works in the less visible economy, but I think it's becoming more visible, shoemaking. She is somebody who was a graduate and took 6 years to hone this craft of making shoes. And she makes men's shoes. And I think they're selling like hotcakes because she's going viral. And that's one of the ways in which women contribute not only to the economy but to the development. And we could look as far back as the pre-colonial days, where you had women traders of the Southwest and the Southeast just making their mark before anything could happen in terms of development. Why do we know that happened? Because the Aba Women's Uprising was a result of colonial colonial partnership with local male leadership taxing women who had not been taxed before. Why would they be upset about being taxed? Because they were making a profit, they were making money, and they just did not understand why that taxation had to suddenly take place, and they protested about it, and it's known as the Aba Women's Riot. We also have other contributions by women who, around the time of independence, made their mark. People like Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, Gambo Sawaba, Janet Mokelo, and Margaret Ekpo, just to name a few. They were teachers, they were activists, they galvanized communities to give them an understanding, A, of the importance of literacy and education, but B, perhaps even more importantly, the need for Nigeria to be independent from its colonial masters. And one of the interesting things about those women in particular is that not only did they leave us this national legacy of what we call Nigeria today, but personally they also left a very dynamic offspring. Everybody knows Funmilayo Ransome Kuti's trilogy of sons who are activists, whether it's medical activism or whether it's musical activism. Fela Ransome Kuti is known throughout the world, almost 2 decades after his death. And Professor Olikoye Ransome Kuti was known throughout the medical field, as was his brother, Beko Ransome Kuti. I mean, that alone just shows that not only was Funmilayo Ransome Kuti busy in society, but she was making sure that she didn't leave anything to chance when it came to the home front. A few people might know that she had an interesting partnership with her husband, who was also an educational activist and a clergyman. And women like Janet Mokelu, whose son rose to be a federal minister under Abacha. Margaret Ekpo's grandson today is the sitting minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Udo Udoma. His grandmother was at the forefront of galvanizing people around Nigeria's independence. So it's hard to look at where you want to go if you don't know where you're coming from. And Nigeria and Africa have such a robust history when it comes to women participating in development.